This is Carita Parks with Bowie TV at the Under Armour Performance Center, where it has been a hot week of training camp. One of the hottest weeks thus far. Yesterday, Coach Harbaugh cut practice a little short due to the heat. And then today it was more of a light practice. But there's still a lot to talk about. Coming into training camp, one of the biggest questions has been offensive line. That is where the most vacancies are. That's where we saw a lot of the offseason departures with Morgan Moses and John Simpson, just to name a few. This week we saw Roger Rosengarten, who was drafted in this year's draft. He had his first opportunity to start at the right tackle position. Patrick McCarry, he's been there rotating in and out of that position, but Rosengarten got the start. We'll keep our eye on that, but Coach Harbaugh did say that he was pleased with what he saw from Rosengarten. So we'll just have to see how that shakes out. Also, on the left guard side, Andrew Voorhees, he seems to have a stronghold on that position. I think at this point, it's just his position to lose. All of his teammates have had some very high accolades of him. Last week, we talked to Michael Pierce, who said he's going to be great. He's just learning. Today, we also talked to Travis Jones, who said that Voorhees is very strong. And then we also talked to Voorhees, who said that he is feeling good getting back into the fold because, as you know, he was injured and he missed an entire year. But in training camp, it doesn't seem like he is missing a beat. So that offensive line is still coming together. Coach Harbaugh said that he was hoping to get that solidified before the preseason, but there has been no confirmation on what that will actually look like, and any final decisions have been made. Also this week, we saw Kyle Hamilton. He heated up. Yesterday, he had an interception that he kicked to himself. But today, he also nearly had a pick on Josh Johnson. And then he ultimately did intercept Emory Jones. And Marlon Humphrey, he also had a interception as well. I believe that was Josh Johnson. So defense still out there getting picks. It was a bit of an up and down day for Lamar Jackson yesterday. Hitting his receivers. There was a miscommunication there with Nelson Aguilar. Him and Rashad Bateman are still working on that deep ball. He missed them a couple of times. There was at least one completion, but that definitely looks like they still need to work on their chemistry when it comes to down the field. If it's short passes across the middle, those end up in Bateman's hands. So that'll be something else to continue to watch throughout training camp. In addition to that, we got a chance to see Derrick Henry a little bit on offense. I mean, as you know, in training camp, they ramp up. And so we've seen Derrick Henry carry the ball, but not at full speed. But yesterday, we were on the sidelines, and he was carrying the ball and definitely running at full speed with two defenders. And you could definitely tell why he has bullied defenses all of his career. He is fast, he is strong, and can't wait to see that play out in the regular season. The Ravens will be back at practice tomorrow for their 6th day of training camp this week. We will have another Ravens rundown for you, so stay tuned to Bowie TV Sports for all your Ravens content. That's at Bowie TV Sports across all platforms.
First Responders Day, maybe our most cherished special group day that we have out here in training camp. We love what those two groups do for our country. They're the heroes, the sacrifices the families make when their loved ones are overseas or away all night pulling shifts to help keep us all safe. So we love this group of people. We're so glad they're here. You can see all of our players are over there signing autographs and taking pictures. So thank you very much to the military and first responders. What questions do you have?
John, didn't see Tyler Linderbaum out there. Anything to know?
Minor soft tissue kind of thing. We'll keep him out today. We'll keep him out tomorrow, and he should be back sometime next week. And we'll be, very patient with Tyler. He's having a great camp, and some of those young guys need a little more work anyway, so it kind of works out for us.
Coach, Jalen Armour-Davis, guys battled injuries over the past 2 seasons, but had a really good camp and a nice knockdown one hand yesterday. If he stays healthy, what can he contribute to the secondary?
Right. I mean, he can. He's been here. He knows what he's doing. He's very talented. He's playing. He's always played very good football, and he's had nicks and things like that, kind of unfortunate situations. But we expect him to have a really good year. I mean, I think he's playing like a starter, and he'll be on special teams, and he'll be playing our secondary and packages, and expect him to have a great year.
Don, is there any concern with Deontay Hardy's absence as it involves with his role being primarily in special teams like kickoff? Is there any concern regarding that?
Well, I mean, I can't say there's no concern. I mean, we want to have all our guys out there, and he's got a nagging, soft tissue lower leg deal. He's had those in the past. It's something he does deal with. I think he'll be fine and get plenty of reps. He's had so many return reps generally, but you would want him out here in this new deal, getting a feel for the time we have this year.
John, we're going to talk to Brent in a little bit. When you think back to the beginning of his career, I mean, he missed most of 3 of his first 4 seasons, and to be playing all these years later, what kind of lesson is that for, whether you're talking about Armour-Davis, David Ajabo, guys who've had some injuries early in their career
right
sure. Just that they can overcome that and still have a long, productive career.
Such a great point. I'm going to start using him as an example for those guys because it's a perfect point. And I can remember him right over there. We were doing an inside run drill against the 49ers. We had the joint practices all those years ago, and he tore his ACL right at the end of practice. Just like, so heartbreaking. And missed that whole year. We had high hopes for him coming out. We thought he was an odd front defensive end in the old Pittsburgh Steeler kind of realm, like the Brett Kiesels of the world. And he's turned out to be just that. He's just that kind of a player. He plays so well. But those first couple of years were tough, and here he is now. He's got a testimony, as a result of all the tests he's been through.
John, I guess another guy kind of in that situation of being injured from the beginning of his career. Darius Washington, you were impressed with him after minicamp. Now you guys have Eddie Jackson. How are you kind of looking at the situation at third safety, and what have you seen from him since he's moved into training camp?
Right, it's a great point. Darius has definitely played at the highest level. I think bringing Eddie Jackson is one of these things that you just wouldn't expect as a possibility to happen. And so it just makes us better. But Darius is very capable of going out there playing great football in the secondary, and I'm sure he will this year. He's just a really good football player. Love his energy. His athleticism is off the charts. He's tough as nails. He's not gonna disappoint anybody when he's on the field.
John, same vein with Darius. Last year, he was about the 4th choice at slot corner, but it seemed like he really outplayed everyone there before him. Do you see a possibility he plays either slot corner or safety? Raise hand up.
Absolutely, he can go down in there and play slot. We haven't put him there much. He's played there a little bit, a lot in the past, a little bit in the spring. I know he can go in there if we needed him to. Just right now, we've got so many guys. We're trying to get those guys the reps, but I think that's kind of indicative of our depth back there. Kind of demonstrates.
John, more curiosity than anything. We're about almost 2 weeks through camp. I don't think there's been a vet day for anybody. Now, is that just how the schedules work, with the off days built in and taking, shortening certain practices, or is?
Yeah, I think we're kind of building that stuff in individually by guy. We haven't felt the need to give guys all days off. And we haven't really done too much of that, except for the really, like Ray Lewis type, older type guys when they get to that stage. And we got, our older guys. They're pretty young. Rose pretty young. We've got Kyle, and you see he had a couple days, and he's taking fewer reps here and there. So we I would say probably we're more doing it with reps than we are with days at this point, probably.
John,
2 weeks into it now, what's two things? What are you sort of most pleased with specifically, with whether it's tight ends, offense, whatever? And then secondly, what's the challenge of when you do get to the back end of all these practices? Obviously next week's a game week, so probably a little more normal build up for you guys, but what's the challenge, I guess?
Yeah, well, we'll still be in camp mode all the way through in terms of our preparation. It's situational football, install. We'll be working, trying to get reps and all things that we're going to have to do throughout the course of the season. We won't be getting ready for the game per se.
Sure.
And so it really doesn't. The mindset really doesn't change. It's camp mode, through all of these games. We will be thinking about yardage and speeds and rest and different things to get our guys ready to roll when they need to be ready to roll. Whether it's certain guys for the preseason games, certain guys for the regular season. What I'm most pleased with probably is just the mindset of the team. I love the mindset of the team, how hard they work, how good their attitude is, how up for anything they are, and how hard they practice and how locked in they've been.
With Travis Jones, what do you make of his camp so far, and what do you envision the next steps being for him?
Yeah, well, I think I've said before, I expect his next step to be a breakout season. He's a dominant guy in there right now. And whenever somebody blocks him, I just think it's a superhuman feat almost when somebody blocks him in there. He's like a superhuman player, so we'll see if it pans out in the games. I know it's a high tag to put on him, but let's go for it.
Another defensive lineman that seems to be really standing out is Broderick Washington. Where have you seen him improve his game from last year taking into this year?
Yeah, Broderick's always been a very steady player. I think he's really he's up to his strength level is ridiculous. I mean, he's so strong. And I think he's doing a really good job with his twitchiness, his ability to kind of tear off of blocks and move laterally really quickly. He's done a really nice job of that. He's playing at a high level.
John, it seems like we have to ask you a kickoff question every time we meet, but did you learn anything have you even gotten a chance to review the film on how they're handled, and is there anything that surprised you?
No, actually. I mean, it looked about like we thought it would look. It was pretty, tough to block those guys, but the field position is going to be there. Unless you just bobble the ball that's on the ground, then it's going to be a problem for the kick return team. The one thing that did jump out at me was it's confusing for the fans. Like, where does the ball go? If you kick it out of bounds, where does it go? What about after a penalty, you kick it out of bounds? What about if it's in the end zone when it lands there? What if it rolls into the end zone? Where does the ball go? All that stuff is like, you got the 40, you got the 30, you got the 25, you got the 20. That's confusing to me. So we'll all get it, but I want to make sure we either educate the fans and actually understand why the ball's being spotted where it's at, or they still could tweak those things and simplify that a little bit too. So that jumped out at me just from watching the TV. Absolutely.
John, going back to Travis for a second, do you see him still as a guy who can kind of either be a nose or a three technique situationally? I mean, is he not really one or the other?
Nose, three technique, or 4-eye or 5 technique. Yeah, he can play anywhere in there. Absolutely. All set? All right. Great. Thanks.
Thank
you. My best foot forward and just improving on the things I did last year and being consistent with it.
Where do you feel like your pass rush game is going? How have you improved that aspect of your game?
Yeah, for me, just having a rush plan in mind and executing it all the way through and not panicking and just going straight to power.
Has working with Chuck really kind of taken it to another level?
Yeah, Chuck, Beaks, all the guys have been helping me out a lot this camp.
Is there anything you've done in particular to kind of get more pass rush moves, or is it just kind of trust your instincts?
Just trust my instincts and going into my third year, having more confidence and experience.
How valuable has it been for you with a veteran defensive line group to mentor you? And for the most part, other than Calais moving on last year, it's been the same guys. I mean, how does that help you as a young player?
Oh yeah, for a young player going to my third year, only having one guy leave, it's meaning there's a lot to me. Brody's still here, and me and him became real close. We work out every day together, and he helped improve my game.
So you're a guy that writes down goals or has, I'm sure you have goals going into the season,
Yeah.
but do you get super specific on them, write them down or anything like that?
For me, of course, I put in my iPhone, write down notes, plans, things I want to accomplish out the year. Personal. Yeah.
Brent just said that if Travis wants to see a model of what it means to break out as a defensive lineman in this league, he has Matabika right here. He just has that been helpful to sort of watch him evolve?
But yeah, since I got here, Matt BK been a big role model for me. I've been looking up to him for the past 2 years, and seeing what he did last year just gave me motivation. So I want to follow his footsteps.
Can you tell us about your workouts that you did with Broderick Washington both in Atlanta and here, and how much stronger are you as compared to last year?
Yeah, last year I've always been one of the strongest, but just building off that, trying to work on my flexibility and things like that to improve my bend when it comes to pass rush.
So it wasn't really like, hey, I'm going to go get stronger this year. Okay.
It's about the flexibility and stuff now.
How much do you appreciate the Ravens, the amount they do stunts and twist games on the inside? Talk a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, with Coach Dennis coming in, guys and Chuck, they mastermind at it, putting us in the right position to make plays.
Travis, I know before, mostly nose tackle, kind of viewed yourself as working behind Michael, but now Coach Harbaugh said, hey, you can play a lot of different positions on the C-line. Was that an off-season focus for you, and what's your viewpoint on playing along the line?
I feel like towards the end of last season, I started playing more 3-tech and defensive end, so I'm pretty comfortable playing out there, and I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah, going against Leonard Brown, he went to the Pro Bowl last year, so he's one of the best centers in the league. And going against him every day is going to get me better. Voorhees, strong, he's strong, real strong, aggressive, so maybe we're just going to keep working every day and make each other better.
I'm wondering how do you handle hype, right? Like a lot of people, coaches, players, your teammates are saying, man, I think Travis is really going to break out this year, right? Like coming from Connecticut, a program where there wasn't a lot of hype around the program and whatnot, and kind of being overlooked in the draft, how do you deal with that? How do you handle it?
I feel like hype, I expect a lot from myself, so when people do the same for me, it's really not no extra motivation or anything for me. I just go out there, put my head down and work.
Cool. I appreciate it.
It's made a ton of sense for me to stay.
Brent, we were just talking to John about this, but the start of your career, I mean, you missed basically 3 of your first 4 years, or big portions of them. Could you have ever thought at that point in time that you'd still be playing all these years later and end up having the career you've had?
No chance, man. It was tough times, a lot of dark days, and a lot to fight through. And I think guys like Terrell Suggs, Marshall Yonda, they dealt with a bunch of injuries throughout their career, and they were kind of there to lift me up and to be like a benchmark on like what to work on coming off an injury, kind of how to have the right mindset like going into the whole thing. So there was a lot of sitting back and watching and, trying to figure out how I fit in and that sort of thing. But, relying on those vets and stuff like that helped me a ton, and allowed me to get through that and, turn that into a career. It was just 1 year at a time, and thankfully it worked out.
Brent, you've now been an NFL survivor by the definition I used. You've been in the NFL for a long time, playing on the fringe of the roster, a lot of that, and obviously been on the handshake crew for now several years. What do you talk to other young players about in terms of, not everybody gets a big second contract. Sometimes you want to be ready for it that way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just being in the league is a privilege, man. Like every single day, you just got to relish it because you see so many guys in and out, and just even looking at my class now, it's, nobody's still around. So just finding your own role, just appreciating it. Like as I get older, I've started to be able to take a seat back and really just appreciate like how thankful I am to be here. When you're young, you're like nose on the grindstone, you're just like hustling every day, you're stressed out, all this stuff. And now I feel like I can kind of be at a luxury to sit back and just really appreciate things each and every day. And I think that's kind of helped me continue to play well in this, later stretch of my career.
Brent, we've been kind of asking some of the more experienced linemen about Travis Jones. You've got to see him grow. I mean, to your mind, what specific thing has to happen for him to go from the good player we saw last year to maybe something more than that?
I think he's doing it, man. He's a guy like Justin to look at, Broderick Washington, who works so hard. Like, he's up with them early in the morning working out. He kind of sees the model of what to do, and I think you guys can see it out on the field. His pass rushing ability has gotten so much better. The way he moves, his quickness, his size, speed, just the way he thinks about the game now. It's at a more mature level where, I think he's going to take off this year. I think he's done a great job and looked at those guys, how they've done it. And the sky's the limit for him. I think he's going to take a huge step this year.
Thank you, Brent.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate